Island is an incredible amusement park located in Mason, Ohio. It's in my top 4 favorite parks for a good reason. Granted, I have only been to 4 parks, but it's one of the better ones, okay? I visited Kings Island twice, once in 2020, getting to ride most of the attractions, just once though, and another time in July 7th, 2021. And on that day, I got fast passes. We got to walk on basically every ride. I got 35 or more rides that day, so I've gained a really good understanding for all of the rides there. So I feel confident enough to make my rankings. I got on every ride except Woodstock Express, Flying Ace Aerial Chase, and the Great Pumpkin Coaster, because they were all too intense for me. Also, my opinions will be different from yours. Feel free to leave your rankings in the comments, but just respect other people's rankings down there and respect my ranking. Thanks. Now before we get into the top 10, I have one honorable mention. The Bat. This was still a good ride, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it disappointed me. I got only one back row ride on this, and I didn't ride it more because it takes 3 years to walk from the entrance to the ride itself. But I expected this ride to have at least some half-decent forces, but I got nothing. The first drop had a little bit of airtime, but other than that, it wasn't whippy or intense like I expected. Anyways, let's get to the top 10. Number 10, Racer. This ride definitely improved from the retracking. I don't know if it was just because I got a non-wheel seat when I rode this, but it felt pretty smooth. This ride was good. There were just better rides in the park. This ride was also kind of forgettable to me. The park has some great family coasters, so this one gets a little bit overshadowed than me. I thought the airtime would be good as Blue Streak at Cedar Point, but it was nowhere near as good as Blue Streak for me, but still pretty alright. The dueling aspect was fun though. Still a fun ride in general, but just a bit overshadowed compared to the rest of the park's lineup. Number 9, Adventure Express. This ride surprised me. I was expecting a terrain Cedar Creek mine ride, but surprisingly this thing wasn't a torture device unlike Cedar Creek. It was actually fun. It was rough as can be, but the laterals were stupid good. The theming on the final lift hill was really surprising and fun, though it was kinda odd to end on a lift hill. But looking past that, it was still good. I wish I had a little airtime, but obviously it's a mine train, so I can't expect too much, but I did enjoy this ride as a whole. I went into it pretty blind and I did not come out disappointed. Number 8, Backlot Stunt Coaster. Backlot is fun. It's one of those one and done rides, and if you haven't ridden it and don't want spoilers, just skip to the next ranking. Okay, let's continue. My first time going on this ride, I didn't know anything about it, which made it a really fun experience. The dark section at the end was absolutely awesome, but this ride, at the end of the day, is still a family coaster. The layout, I'm gonna be honest, it's bad, but the theming makes up for it, and the theming is really good. The launch is a good for a family launch, better than a mock launch to be honest, but nothing special. This ride is really good one and done though. Number 7, Invertigo. I got only one ride on Invertigo, and you might think I have it this low because, oh, it's rough, it's boring, and some other third complaint, but no, I got a really smooth ride on this. But there are 2 reasons this ride is kind of low for me. The first one, it just doesn't have much. It's a lift hill, a cobra roll, a vertical loop, and then you do the same thing other way around. Then it's done. Kinda boring. But the other reason is pretty stupid, but I'm gonna say it anyways. This ride is freaking terrifying. Okay, that sounds like a stupid reason, but I went up that first slow lift hill facing the ground, and I got a lot of room. So during the lift hill, my whole body weight was on that restraint, and my back wasn't even touching the back of the seat. I was so pressed up against the restraint. And this is a nitpick, but it's honest, and it's one of the reasons I'm not that big of a fan of this ride. Still better than the other rides below it for me though. Number 6, Banshee. Now there is a big leap in quality between this and Invertigo, so just remember that when I talk about this ride. Before my recent visit, Banshee was my number 2 in the park. I had problems, I know. So you might be wondering what happened to this ride and why I don't like it much anymore. The answer? Nothing happened. I still like this ride just as much, just other rides in the park are a bit better than me. The drop is great, so is the inline twist. I do have a small nitpick though, like I do for literally all rides. For me, I do like intensity, but I like more of the fast-paced, whippy, and speed factor for intensity, not as much the positive G's. Banshee is really intense, but the main thing for intensity on this ride is positive G's, which I'm not too big of a fan of. The ride is still great though. Number 5, Flight of Fear. What a surprise. I had low expectations, but man, were they shattered. This ride is the definition of intense. It has dead spots, but it also has absolutely insane spots. The launch is powerful and fun. And yeah, this ride is pretty rough, but the really weird rat bars actually help this, so there's no headbanging, which makes the ride much better. The big old dark room you're in during the ride is not pitch black. You can still see, but it feels like reality is altered. The ending during the bit of the corkscrew, like in the area before that, has to be my favorite part. It is insanely intense, and a lot of people complain about the mid-course, and yeah, it sucks, but I don't mind too much. The first half inversions, though, are also insane. But yeah, this ride was fun and a pleasant surprise. Also, people always give their stories of ride-ups doing stupid things before they launch it, and the person that launched us literally just said, "Oh no, you just got Coney mauled," and then launched us. It was great. Number 4, The Beast. This ride, just like Backlot, is absolutely garbage on paper, but it is really fun in real life. Being that close to the trees and having the ride being that rough makes it really laughable and fun. The one thing I will give this ride though is the laterals are great. It had some really amazing laterals that were just straight up fun. The second drop is also amazing. It's really fun because the whole time you're dropping, you're just waiting to get slammed back into your seat because of that insane double helix after the drop. The Beast tunnels are also amazing, and you can't talk about the Beast without talking about its crazy night rides, of course. I got one on my most recent trip, and man, was it good and worth it. These night rides are not overrated in the slightest, and it had to be one of, if not the best coaster experience I've ever had. Number 3, Orion. Now, I know I like to joke around saying, "Oh, this ride's dumb," and "Oh, it's bad, it's garbage," and I apologize for understating it. Orion sucks. I'm just kidding. I got to marathon this ride, and it grew on me a bit. I used to hate how short it was, but since I had the fast pass and all, I really didn't mind the shortness because I could just get back in line and ride it again. I got to ride it in the front, the back, the middle several times, and I definitely preferred the back. The one thing that really surprised me though, this time riding it, was the pop into the brakes. This is a really good moment. I also have really been enjoying the wave turn, and don't get me wrong, I will be the first to say it's forceless, but that by no means it's bad. The one part of this ride that actually was bad to me was the turnaround. I have never really got any positives on that turnaround, and I found it a bit lackluster, but yeah, this ride is weird. You don't really feel the speed or positives, but it's still enjoyable for me. And please, Orion's fans, don't go to the comments saying, "Oh, Orion's easily the best in the park." I'm just kidding, no one says that. They say it's the best in the universe. But in all seriousness, this is just my honest opinion, and I'm very much not getting held hostage and forced to say this. Number 2, Mystic Timbers. Oh boy, this ride is something else. Probably the most fast-paced ride I have ever ridden. And that kind of non-stop intensity is by far my favorite type of intensity. But this ride's airtime, I know people rave about it, but it kind of disappointed me. I have had around 14 rides on this thing, and the airtime has not been as good as I expected. Even on my 88-degree night ride after the rain. So, since you were disappointed by the airtime, why is it so high? Because of those incredible laterals. There is no POV that can show how dangerous these laterals are that the ride gives you. The drop, laterals. Seriously, this drop is amazing. Yes, airtime and laterals is definitely one of my favorites. The twisty section after the drop, laterals. The ending area, laterals. The shed, disappointment. And then laterals. No matter how much you think you like or dislike laterals, you gotta try this ride out to get some of the best laterals in the game. And I've been trying not to do reviews on this channel and trying to stay away from it, but honestly, I think I could do a pretty fun review on this ride, so expect that in the near future. Number 1, Diamondback. Holy crap. Now, this was my first B&M Hyper, and also my only B&M Hyper, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about this ride. Each hill delivered for me at least a little bit of airtime. The final hill did cut it close, but it always delivered. I got a bunch of rides during this on my most recent trip, and boy, I'm glad I did. The best seat for me was back left, specifically the left side because the view on your left is stunning. The drop of this ride should not be as good as it is, and neither should the hills on this ride, but goodness do they deliver. One thing that really shocked me about this ride though was the positives. This ride has some nasty positives, enough to make you gray out, especially before the mid-course. And one thing I didn't expect as well was the hammerhead turnaround was really fun. I love airtime, but it's a cool element to throw in there to give you a little bit of break in that airtime. In all, this ride to me has to be one of my favorites. That will just about do it for my Kings Island rankings. But wait, don't click off. Before you go, I want to read my rankings before I took my second trip. Keep in mind, I hadn't gotten many rides on the coasters, and most of them I only ridden once, but here are my rankings. Also, I hadn't ridden every coaster there at the time. Number 7, Racer. Number 6, Backlot Stunt Coaster. Number 5, Mystic Timbers. Oh my gosh, I couldn't be more wrong. Number 4, Orion. Ugh. Number 3, The Beast. A bit high, but okay. Number 2, Banshee. Oh gosh. And number 1, Diamondback. Well, my thoughts and opinions have changed since the last time. But anyways, that would just about do it for the video. Leave your rankings in the comments, or leave any questions or thoughts on the video down there as well. Hit the like button to help me fight against the monster that's almost as bad as Orion named the YouTube algorithm. That was a joke. Don't cancel me.